Hungaroring plays host to the 5th round of the Euroformula Open season. 4.4 kilometres of tarmac that has hosted top-level international motorsport ever since its opening in 1986. We've got 18 laps of racing to come here this morning in the Euroformula Open Championship. The top 6 from yesterday's first race have been reversed, and that means that Ayrton Simmons will be starting on the pole position for this race. Simmons, who is returning to the championship for the first time since 2020 this weekend with DriveX, could have a great opportunity for his best result in the championship. He did a partial schedule here in the Euroformula Open in 2020. His best finish was a 5th place on pole position. He could well move his way up the order. He'll be joined on the front row of the grid by the Hungary Josh Mason. He got his first taste of the podium champagne in 3rd place in race 1 at Spa. He was 2nd place in race number 3, and he will be looking to ascend further to the top step of the podium here. He's been determined and eager for an opportunity all weekend long. Suffered some balance issues with the car yesterday, but he'll be looking to press on, and do not rule out Christian Mansell as well. He will obviously be looking for another one of his lightning getaways from 3rd on the grid. But George, after yesterday's result for Oliver Goethe taking the win and Christian Mansell not making the podium, it's hugely important for Christian to try and outscore Goethe today.
Vital, I would say. Thank you very much, Adam Weller. Certainly welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here at Hungary, and you're absolutely spot on. The championship is getting spicier, of course, with Oliver Goethe taking the victory yesterday. It does advance his position, certainly where the championship is concerned, and you can certainly imagine that Christian Mansell is going to have to do everything he can in order to try and recoup the points back, and therefore null and void the damage. But that's going to be a lot of work. Certainly Goethe's form right now has been absolutely astonishing, and at this rate I think we can only see that continuing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Goethe has been sensational all season long. Even when tides turn against him, he seems to be able to salvage a podium or a solid points scoring result. The fans are here this weekend at the Hungaroring in abundance. Lots of drivers, lots of enthusiasts here to see the Euroformula Open, the International GT Open, and the rest of the fabulous package of racing we've got here this weekend in Hungary. Just outside Budapest, of course, the Hungaroring circuit. The drivers on their downtime have been lapping in the sights of the fabulous city, and well, fabulous 2 cities, technically speaking, and we very much look forward to this evening. I'm sure the drivers will want to cool down and wind down, but they've got 2 races yet to come here this afternoon. Well, this morning for this one, and of course another race this afternoon. And Ayrton Simmons will have his eyes on the prize there on pole position. The DriveX car in his hands for the first time this year. Currently, he's not confirmed to do much of anything else for the rest of the year, so this is a huge opportunity for Ayrton Simmons to put himself in the shop window. We've seen what he's capable of in British and European motor racing, and it would be a huge shame if we can't see more of Ayrton Simmons somewhere in the 2022 season, but budget always a factor in motor racing. Josh Mason there on the 2nd slot on the grid, starting from the dirty side of the circuit, of course, so he might be at a disadvantage. Starting on the clean part of the track is Christian Mansell, P3 on the grid for the Aussie driver, with his new helmet that he is very, very proud of, the new lid on his head for this one. Freddie Lubin with his first podium since the since the opening round at Estoril, actually, for Freddie Lubin. So Lubin delighted with his Saturday's work. He's going to look to better himself again on Sunday. Vladislav Lomko came 2nd place yesterday, hence he's 5th on the grid today. And this man, Oliver Goethe, starting from P6. Behind him is Benjamin Berta, the DriveX competitor, another driver making their first appearance of the year, and in the case of Berta, his first ever appearance in Euroformula Open, the highest level of competition he's ever experienced, and he's hanging on in there nicely.
He is absolutely right, and a little wave as well from Benjamin Berta. He's going to be positioned alongside Francesco Simonazzi, another man who was very tenacious in our previous race yesterday, and he gets a wave too. He performed very well across the weekend in terms of testing. First test, managing to top the timing sheets. He would look dazzling, certainly, in the car yesterday. And there's Alex Garcia as well, the man he was very much up against in the midfield. Those two came together. Now, once again, they are nip and tuck, as we now see Netteschill, the rear of the field.
So Vladimir Netteschill starting from the back. In a moment's time, though, we'll take a look at the events of Saturday's race. Race 1 kicked off with a great start for Vladislav Lonko from pole position. Freddie Lubin cutting across Oliver Goethe to try and hold on to second place. Lubin would find himself on the very outside line, trying to power around both Goethe and Lonko, but Goethe would find a way through at turn 3 into second place. And Lubin would have to settle for third in that exchange. Goethe was soon making life very hard for Vladislav Lonko, trying to go all the way around the outside, and successfully doing so at turn 1, set himself up nicely to take the lead definitively at turn 2. Goethe would build an unassailable lead from there and claim his 5th consecutive win of the 2022 Euroformula Open season. More success for the Motor Park driver, an extended championship lead once more. Here are the championship standings at this stage. 279 points for Oliver Goethe, 195 for Christian Mansell. Just a significant margin now of 84 points between Goethe and Mansell. Vladislav Lonko just over 100 points back, and Lonko also leads the rookie standings as well, the separate rookie classification, rather comfortably. And now we are taking a look at the race 2 grid. Ayrton Simmons on the pole position alongside Josh Mason. As we have covered, Simmons will be looking to capitalise on that pole. Mansell and Lubin on row 2 of the grid. 5th place for Vladislav Lonko, yesterday's pole sitter, and Oliver Goethe, yesterday's winner, on row 3 alongside him. Benjamin Berta and Francesco Simonazzi. I get the feeling that could be a bit of a dynamite duo for some scrapping out there on circuit. Alex Garcia in 9th place. He'll be picking his way through the pack, and Vladimir Netteschill looking to continue his progression curve from 10th place. He's committed to Euroformula Open. He wants to succeed at a higher level than he ever has before. So then, Simmons will be leading them away on the formation lap in the next few moments. And will, of course, always, as always, be a standing start for this. He said to me yesterday, you know what, I hope I remember how to launch these cars. It'd been almost 2 years since he'd last attempted it, and he did have a good start yesterday in that first race. So Simmons with a good shot here at leading in the early stages.
Yeah, definitely. If you can get the launch and lead in towards turn 1, it could be a huge advantage for you. I mean, we talk about Hungaroring being very difficult to overtake. We saw that with the duel going on between Garcia and Simonazzi. Simonazzi was literally trying everything he could to get past the Mexican, but Garcia once again showing how well he can defend. So as long as Ayrton Simmons can position the car where he needs it to be, then without a shadow of a doubt, he has a great opportunity. But you've also got to look at the likes of Josh Mason. Christian Mansell will have a good opportunity too to score big in this race, and you get the feeling he needs to, considering how the championship has unfolded so far.
Yeah, Goethe has been so strong in this 2022 Euroformula Open season. He, as we said yesterday, and in the build to this one, 5 consecutive wins now after the clean sweep at Spa and a race 3 victory last time out, but well, the time before that at Paul Ricard's. And the DriveX crew cheering on Ayrton Simmons. Simmons' dad there leading the cheerleading group in the DriveX garage. I'm sure he'll be keen to see his boy up on the top step of the podium, but that's a long way away. 18 laps of racing await and Ayrton Simmons is going to be under a lot of pressure, not least of which from that man Josh Mason on the front row of the grid. It would be a first win in a championship for both Simmons and Mason if they can achieve that, but there's a hungry pack of drivers behind them. It's going to be quite the unpredictable race. I think a lot is going to hinge on where people end up after the first few corners of the race, and of course how the field spreads or indeed bunches in the first few laps of this 18-lap encounter. Goethe there in 6th place. He has a penchant for winning the race from 6th position. He's done it an inordinate number of times already this year, and he'll be looking to once again continue his overtaking habits. He also had the most overtakes in yesterday's race as well, starting from 3rd on the grid. He made up the most positions in the race, so he will be looking to further his points tally here. But a win is always going to be tricky from 6th, even if you've done it before.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm sure he'll want to make it win number 9 after scooping his 8th yesterday. Let's see if he can do just that. Simonazzi heading through the next left and into the next right as well. He's got a busy job on his hands too. Certainly he's going to be up and fighting with the likes of Benjamin Berta off the start-finish line. It'll be interesting to see how that scrap unfolds. Simonazzi himself, we spoke about the setup leading into the weekend, and going through all the intricacies. These drivers have to ensure they get absolutely spot on in order to maximise their performance. Certainly here at Hungaroring, where the corners are so tough, so difficult, very treacherous, so the track limits can be a prevalent issue as well. We've seen that across the weekend too, certainly in qualifying, so it's all up to who can maximise their performance within those limits.
Absolutely right. This circuit is much higher downforce than our last couple of visits to Paul Ricard and indeed to Spa. So completely different setups, different feel in the car for all parties this weekend. And I know the likes of Freddie Lubin have been savouring the fact that we've got the higher downforce setups on the cars. He loves this circuit, the Hungaroring. He's been lavishing praise on it all weekend long. He starts from 4th position. He'll be looking for his 2nd podium in as many races, Freddie Lubin. But let's see what happens at the sharp end of the order then. Ayrton Simmons on that pole position. He awaits the red lights. The green flag waves in the back of shot. The lights will go out and we will be racing. It's not a great start from Ayrton Simmons. Josh Mason it is then that leads. Christian Mansell are into 2nd place. And Ayrton Simmons trying to cut ahead of Freddie Lubin after that poor start, but Lubin has the inside for turn 1. Mason, it is side by side with Mansell at the sharp end of the order. Mansell out wide, and he's just about going to be able to rejoin with an armful of oversteer on the runoff area at turn 1. Some scrapping further back as well, but it is Josh Mason at the sharp end of the order. It's Christian Mansell in 2nd. It's Ayrton Simmons and Goethe side by side with Freddie Lubin for 4th place. Lubin just about holds on for now.
Yeah, Freddie Lubin managed to marshal off the attack from Ollie Goethe, who looked to get the jump, managed to move up to 5th place off the line, so that's 1 place improvement up into 6th. Lomco is now in 6th as well, with Garcia behind him, Simonazzi in 8th. But how about the start from Josh Mason? Took advantage, given the slow getaway from Ayrton Simmons, who's now down in 3rd. Moving up, Christian Mansell got a very good pounce off the line. He's now up and challenging for that 1st place spot. Could not quite unseat Mason heading through turn 1, but I'm sure he'll be back. This is a huge opportunity for the Aussie.
Huge opportunity for both of the drivers up at the sharp end. Simmons had good race pace yesterday, but will he be able to hold off Lubin, Goethe, Lomco, Garcia and the rest of the drivers behind him? Certainly, if Simmons gets his defensive elbows out, that could really help the 2 drivers ahead of him. Already looks as though Mason and Mansell have just slightly gapped Simmons after that poor start from pole position. But Simmons is a feisty racer, an experienced racer at this point as well, and we reckon he can fight for this podium. It's going to be hard work, though, over the next 17 laps with the likes of Lubin and Goethe behind. A lock up there for Mason. Did he make the apex? Often hard to make the turn in when your tyre is locking. but he did get through the corner okay by the looks of it. May have compromised the rubber though. Not good to have an early lockup.
No, you don't want to flat spot those tyres either. Makes things very, very tricky, certainly heading through the course of a race. Mason, though, wasn't quite as fast as he was, obviously, in the previous sector. Mansell managed to scoop some extra time up, so he's still pressing. It'll be interesting to see what the delta's like heading through this lap time around. Ayrton Simmons still in third place. The gap now starting to increase between him and Mansell is 1.1 seconds. Freddie Lubin still there in, well, 4/10 behind. Lubin actually enjoying the circuit right now. Had a great day yesterday, getting his podium as well, returning for the first time since Estoril at the start of the season. So big day for Freddie Lubin, and certainly if he can try and close up on Ayrton Simmons, make that crucial overtake, he could be in line for his second podium.
He could well be, so keep an eye on that situation. Lubin there in 4th place then. Of course, had a great run at Estoril, solid points on the board, podium finishes, but has had a rough run of form from Po onwards. Seems to have come back into his own this weekend at the Hungaroring. There's Benjamin Berta down in 9th place at the moment. Last year's ESET Formula champion in a F3 spec car, moving into Euroformula Open for the first time this weekend in the DriveX machinery, relishing the opportunity and eager to try and do more with DriveX and with this car in future events. Christian Mansell, fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:36.251 for the driver there in 2nd place. It's Crypto Towers, Josh Mason that leads the way here then at the sharp end of the pack. It's a Crypto Tower 1-2 with Christian Mansell there in 2nd, and then of course you've got DriveX's Ayrton Simmons there in 3rd position in that number 12 car. And I tell you what, he seems to be managing it well there in 3rd place. He was under pressure from Lubin, but it's looking increasingly like he's settled into his race pace now, and is just starting to build a few tenths over Freddie Lubin in 4th.
Yeah, it's looking more like Ayrton's closer to Lubin than Lubin's closer to Simmons. So Simmons now 1.2 behind, though he's managed that very well indeed. It was 1.1 when we last checked, so he hasn't lost a huge amount from Christian Mansell in 2nd place. And bear in mind, Mansell, he got the fastest lap earlier on as well. So there you have it. Not bad pace at all from Ayrton Simmons, who's making his first visit this weekend to Euroformula Open Championship this season, as we now watch the cars make their way in towards the next straight. Simonazzi once again getting closer to Alex Garcia for that 7th place. Of course, Garcia now up 2 places after the launch. Remember, he finished in 9th place after penalties yesterday, therefore starting where he did. And now Simonazzi is once again looking to duel with the Mexican himself. As we can now see the cars round in the final corner. Mason still on top with Mansell in 2nd place right now. 8.5 tenths. Mason having a very good run so far. Hasn't yet seen Mansell close up to him too much, but I can tell you one man who is closing in, and that's Ollie Goethe on Frederik Lubin.
Goethe all over the back of Lubin at the moment, but Freddie managing it well at the moment, not doing any defensive driving he doesn't need to do. He's not quite close enough for a move right now, the young Dane, Ollie Goethe. So managing it nicely at the moment is Ollie Goethe. Fastest lap that time by for Josh Mason, then he's ramping up the pace. Christian Mansell there in his wheel tracks, pretty much matching him sector on sector at the moment. Simonazzi and Garcia, a reunion from yesterday's most exciting scrap, with Alex Garcia just ahead of Francesco Simonazzi. Of course, Vladislav Lomko is the leader of the rookie standings at the moment in this race. The 2 behind him are the other 2 drivers in the rookie standings there in 7th and 8th overall. There is Mansell following Mason closely in 2nd position. Now, I think this could be a bit of a chess match between the 2 of them. They're leveling up their pace lap on lap at the moment. Will we see them trying to preserve tyres? I know Mansell has had some issues with oversteer in particular, with the car just being a bit difficult on the rear end, especially as the race goes on. The balance just seems to seep away from him. Hopefully, he's made gains and progress on that front, though. And he sits there in 2nd place at the moment, having just set the fastest lap of the race. He takes it over from Josh Mason, 1:35.657 on the previous lap. But the fastest lap will mean little in comparison to the win for Mansell.
Yeah, very much exchanging these fastest laps now, Mason and Mansell. Very encouraging signs from Josh Mason, though, on that lap where he did set it. He's carrying the pace. 7/10 though now, the gap between him and Mansell. Mansell starting to close a little bit every moment in time. Ed Simmons now out to 1.7 seconds. So that is now a crucial gap that has been brought forward, nearly half a second since we last checked. Lubin in 4th place, still keeping Goethe in behind, though Goethe 3.5 tenths just in behind that of Frederick Lubin, and I can guarantee you that the teams are going to be in the ears of these drivers just saying, look, come on, let's get a little bit closer. We've got 14 laps still to go, though, plenty of time for a twist in the tail. Mason still leads, with Christian Mansell still locked in behind. The gap still remains at around 7.5 tenths. They run across those curbs. It can be very uncomfortable, you can imagine. Certainly running over those rumble strips, certainly as low down as they are in these cars as they now head down through towards turn 12. Mason still leading very, very well indeed. And Mansell still holding up in 2nd place. There's Goethe, just trying to get as close as he can to the rear end of Frederick Lubin, who's doing a cracking job in 4th place right now, just to keep the Great Dane in behind the championship leader that's looked so imposing all season long, Adam Weller. You have to wonder, has Freddie got enough to hold him back?
Freddie did a great job matching the pace of Goethe back at Estoril, so you wouldn't put it past him. Certainly on board here, or rather a replay, slow-mo replay of Mason there across the curbs at 6 and 7. Bouncy, bouncy, and certainly pressing on in the lead of the race. Ollie Goethe there in P5 then. He's not had his traditional carve through the order just yet. This is a difficult circuit for overtaking. Of course, the higher amounts of downforce don't help, and there is Garcia and Simonazzi. Their scrap continues. Garcia continuing to hold off Simonazzi, but Simonazzi with a nose to the inside at turn 3, and they just about find room for each other. But Francesco seems really happy with the BBM racing car underneath him. He just needs to get past Garcia, doesn't he?
He did so well. I mean, taking the outside line in towards turn 2, very, very tricky. Certainly being thrown out that far wide. Very easy to lose the car, but he did absolutely brilliantly to keep control and head in towards turn 3. A flick of the rear there, you can see the BBM car on rails right now. He's trying to get past Alex Garcia as they now head around turns 8, 9, and very soon 10, and then soon to be turn 11 before they then take the straight. Simonazzi looking very, very racy at this moment in time, and certainly if we look at our timing screens, his speed certainly looks very, very good right now. Heading through towards turn 12. There is Simonazzi. Will not choose to make the move here at turn 12. We saw a few of those over the weekend, but certainly not this time. So you now see them make their way towards turn 13. Maybe an opportunity down the long home straight. Crucially enough, Garcia won't have necessarily a tow or a slipstream, whereas Simonazzi will off Garcia, which might tee up an opportunity. Here we have the replay showing Christian Mansell heading through the chicane in that brand new helmet, as you alluded to earlier on, Adam, that looks very flashy, certainly in a similar colour scheme as what his car is.
Yeah, Christian Mansell has been working hard this year, treated himself to a new helmet as a bit of an incentive to press on in the second half of the season, and press on he is at the moment. There in 2nd position, still holds the fastest lap in the race. The further we get into the race, the less chance there is really of someone managing to better it, of course. The Michelin rubber will wear, but also the fuel will come down, so it is a bit of a balance, but as a rule, the fastest lap tends to come quite early on. Goethe seemingly a little bit closer this time to Freddie Lubin, down to 4 tenths at the last sector split, and Freddie was fighting the car there, coming off turn 7. So Lubin under significant pressure right now from Goethe. Motor Park teammates, but formation flying absolutely not an option right now for either Goethe or Lubin. Goethe with what seems to be a immaculately balanced and set up car this year. Him and his engineers have worked together to put together quite the package in this 2022 season, but Goethe has been the key component. He's been pushing on. He has been exemplary all season. It's been very rare that he's found himself off the podium. In fact, I think it's only happened once this year. And that was at Estoril. Ever since then, he's been on a charge each and every time, and he's going to look to the inside for 4th place here. He's got the inside line, but Freddie Lubin will get the better run out of the corner, covers him off, but still Goethe very close behind as they head towards turn 2. Will Goethe look to the inside? He does. he sold the dummy there, I think, to Freddie Lubin. And Goethe, really, that was exemplary driving from the Danish competitor there. Freddie Lubin thought he was going to the outside, but last minute change of lanes for Oliver Goethe puts him up to P4.
Yeah, tremendous switchback heading out of turn 1, of course, tried to tee it up heading around turn 2, switch to the inside and open the door. There you see, move right, move left, find your way through. He certainly did. Around turn 2, exquisite move indeed. And there you can see the response there from his team. Stuart Hall with a ferocious clap there. He wants to see more from Ollie Goethe. Podium next, Ollie. That's what he's saying.
That is certainly what he's saying. Always exuberant, geeing up his young driver is Stuart Hall. And there you see Christian Mansell just starting to slide a bit out of some of these corners. Really pushing on. Ayrton Simmons is still very much in this conversation, isn't he? He's there in 3rd place. And now, though, with Ollie Goethe released by Freddie Lubin, will he soon come under threat from the Gulf liveried machine, the Rothgo colours? There's the 21 car, though, in the lead of the race. Josh Mason still at the head of the order, controlling the race magnificently at this point, putting in the pace that he needs. Was 3/10 faster, well, just over 2/10 faster than Christian Mansell on that previous lap. There is Ayrton Simmons keeping a watching brief in 3rd place, but Goethe closing in sector on sector at the moment. And let's see if Simmons can hold on to that podium. Simonazzi and Garcia either did very well to avoid each other or made the slightest little bit of contact. Either way, Simonazzi tried for the inside and couldn't quite do it. They will both continue on, and I'm sure, given the weekend they've had together so far, it's not the last scrap we'll see between the two of them.
No, not at all, absolutely not. Mason, we just saw him running through the chicane as well, just twisting that wheel vigilantly indeed. You can just see behind Mansell as well in 2nd, also trying to gain. 9/10 is all that separates the pair. I've got to say, Ayrton Simmons has been really impressive in 3rd place. 1.3, that gap has remained. It's down to 1.1 at this point, and Goethe in behind 1.7.
You can see that Christian is really starting to suffer with some rear slip there. We saw it out of turn 9. He was really fighting the car. We've seen it in a few other corners in the last couple of laps. It seems as though Mansell's having to start to fight the car. He's put in the fastest lap of the race, of course. But he just seems to be having to fight the car. It's working against him at times, and Mason there with a dab of Oppo in his own right. Bit smoother through that corner for Mansell, but it seems that in the mid-speed corners in particular, Mansell is having to manage quite a lot of different car behaviours underneath him. There's Freddie Lubin, who, sorry, that's yeah, that is Lubin, who's now fallen behind Lomko. Vladislav Lomko, of course, up to 5th place. In the 69 car, so the Crypto Tower driver passed his Motor Park rival, and Lomko moving into the top 5. It's not been often he's been off the podium this year, but it's going to be a lot of work from where he currently sits on the circuit.
Yeah, 5th place is going to be a big ask, of course. He's going to chase after Ollie Goethe, who is quite a ways up the road from him. 2.8 seconds is where it currently sits. Mason, though, in front, and he's starting to draw away as well. Has just notched together another 3/10 on Christian Mansell. So Josh Mason with a superb drive from the front right now. He's utilising the clear air. He's got plenty of space in amongst him. Obviously, no concerns in terms of battling. And Ayrton Simmons, in fact, has come in within the 2nd mark. He's now 8/10 away from Mansell. So Simmons with a chance to perhaps improve his prospects, maybe get that P2, and then Goethe will come and join the fight. We could have a 3-way fight for the podium places here.
As it stands, this would be Ayrton Simmons' best finish in Euroformula Open. He got into the top 5 a few times in 5th place in the 2020 season. Simmons, though, with a potential here for a podium finish, maybe even 2nd place if he can continue to close in on Christian Mansell as he is doing currently fractionally. Of course, he is having to worry a bit about the dirty air, which is more prevalent here at the Hungaroring than it has been for the last couple of rounds of the season. But nonetheless, Mansell is being homed in upon here just slightly by the DriveX man. The HWA engined version of the Dallara 320. We've got motors from HWA and Spies here in the Euroformula Open. Of course, majority of the field running the VW Spies motors. HWA, though, supplying both the DriveX Cruise and the BBM racing car, Francesco Simonazzi. In fact, no, sorry, Netishil is the other HWA car. You see there, Simmons still right there on the back of Christian Mansell as Oliver Goethe sits there in P4, closing in on the back of Simmons. I think Simmons is going to find himself in that unenviable yo-yo zone where he's going to try and make offensive moves on Mansell at the risk of having to go defensive on Goethe. Yeah, that's the risk he's going to have to take, I think, at this point. Mansell does start to become a hindrance because, of course, 5/10 now is all the gap between Mansell and Simmons. In the meantime, Goethe coming right into the fight. 7/10 now. That has closed in very, very dramatically indeed. Mansell is, I'm sure, looking in his rear view mirror, he could certainly see that Simmons is right in behind him, as well as Ollie Goethe, who's coming in to join the fight as they now make their way down through towards turn 1, and still the Aussie in second place, with currently now Simmons looking to the inside, just showing in the mirrors there of Christian Mansell. And in behind there, Goethe as well, coming up, looking to roam in behind the Brit as they make their way down through towards the next left, heading in towards turn 2, and very shortly out of the fast section of turn 3. Still at this moment in time, though, Mason, who's managed to leap forward 2.7 seconds, the gap now between him and Christian Mansell, and with 7 laps to go at this point, you have to think that Mason must be feeling good, not to mention his team, with this performance. What an occasion this would be for Josh Mason. It would be huge for Josh Mason if he can take this win. 4 races ago at Spa, he claimed 3rd place, his first ever podium. 2 races after that, he claimed 2nd place. 2 races later, and Mason leads by 2.6 seconds here at the Hungaroring circuit. He's still got 7 laps to go, however. Mansell there in 2nd place, with Simmons and Goethe close behind. Goethe closer to Simmons than Simmons is to Mansell at the moment, so Ollie Goethe smells a podium at the moment, but Ayrton Simmons has a few tricks up his sleeve from many years in single-seater competition, and let's see what he can do. Still a very young man, but still very experienced also. Has kind of travelled the UK and European and indeed global junior single-seater scenes over the last several years, has Ayrton Simmons. He'll know some tricks of the trade. Goethe there with a rough run out of the final corner. Had to correct the car a couple of times, just did not get the run off that last corner. Simmons with a little bit of a lifeline for at least a couple of turns. Yeah, it looked like the rear got away with it, got away from him heading around the final corner there, Ollie Goethe, but managed to control the car. Brilliant recovery, and now makes his way out of turn 1. He's going to be chasing now on the rear of Ayrton Simmons, who's currently in 3rd place. I'm going to try and chase on Christian Mansell for that 2nd place spot. These 3 now in tandem. Well clear now, Josh Mason. 3 seconds the gap. So once again, still springing it out. Mansell, though, still holds the fastest lap of the race so far. Vladislav Lomko has got a nice gap in between him and Freddie Lubin. That currently sits at 1.9, but then a gap to Simonazzi, who's managed to get ahead of Garcia. He's up into 7th place, but has got only 5/10, which is now all of a sudden sprung it to 1.3 seconds. So Simonazzi very comfortable in that 7th position right now. But here we go. This is the battle that we've all been watching. Certainly Mansell, Simmons and Goethe as they head through this next right. Mason, who we just saw in picture, still clear by 3 seconds. And again, Goethe trying to push. And I think maybe it's a case that he might be pushing too hard. Is he forcing it too much, Adam? Maybe just slightly. Car got away from him a couple of times in the last few corners. Goethe, I'm sure, will be being told to get his head down, keep composed. Still got 6 laps, well, make it 5 laps when they cross the line to play with here in this race. The time is still on his side, but the car's rear end is trying to get away from him. It's like a game of cat and mouse, with Goethe being the cat and the fleeing mouse being his own car at the moment. It's just trying to unsettle itself. And Goethe doing a good job of managing the situation. At the moment, he's off the podium, and he doesn't want to be off that podium at all. He has had 5 consecutive wins, of course, in the last 5 races. He's unlikely to manage to continue that streak now, with Josh Mason 3.3 seconds clear at the sharp end of the order. But at least a podium score would be good for him. And of course, also, even though Mansell is there in 2nd place, not in the lead, Mansell would still score a number more, I think 6 more points in total, more than Oliver Goethe if the flag were to fly right now. And that's, even though it's a small margin compared to the mighty gap that Goethe has in the championship, an 84-point gap, anything will do at this stage for Mansell. If he can outscore Goethe by the 6 points as it stands currently, that would be huge.
Yeah, points mean prizes, and obviously in the context of the big championship, Mansell will need every bit he can get. We're at this point in the championship, and we've still got a considerable number of races left, pretty much just crossing the halfway point at this moment in time. So Mansell really needs to start stringing some results together, trying to keep Ollie Goethe in behind him. Obviously, having the benefits of Ed Simmons in between them obviously gives him a little bit of respite, but nonetheless, do not count out Simmons. He can certainly strike. Only 5 tenths separate each of them right now. Mansell 5 tenths ahead of Ed Simmons, and Goethe 5 tenths behind Simmons right now. So Simmons has got to make the call whether he wants to push and make the move. There we can see the action replay of Christian Mansell heading through the chicane. Looks very cool and calm heading through that particular bend. Ollie Goethe, in fact, putting more steering input at that portion. Obviously looking to try and push and fight everything he can to try and get past Simmons, because you've got to wonder, as soon as he gets past Simmons, he might be able to have a go at Mansell.
Yellow flag at turn 7, it says on our screen. That's the second element of the chicane down at turn 6-7. So let's see. Green flag has waved now, so maybe just a spinner. Perhaps Nettishil having a spin further back because he's yet to come through the second sector split. It seems to be whatever the hindrance is back there has been rectified. So no harm, no foul. It is indeed Vladimir Nettishil. Oh, just having a bit of a spin there. Managed to save the car. Locked up all 4 tyres, yes, but stayed out of the barriers. And that is the important thing for Vladimir. And there is Josh Mason at the head of the order. It's been a little while since we've seen him. He has been driving a perfect race so far, just extending the gap out. Christian Mansell there, very, very wide indeed. It was just as if the car just didn't want to steer for him there at turn 11. He gets through turn 12 okay, though. I imagine just before he came into view, he had a big moment of correction there. The car probably snapped on it, hence he went so far offline. But Mansell there, clearly still under pressure. You just see there's a bit of a wobble on coming out of the corner, and that sent him out wide. Christian Mansell remains in second place, but Simmons is right there behind him now.
Yeah, absolutely right. He's literally right on the rear. Simmons might choose to make the move, switches to the outside in towards turn 1. Mansell, after that uncomfortable position coming out of turn 9 in towards turn 10. Now he's at the mercy of Ayrton Simmons, who now goes side by side with him, heading out of turn 1, now deep diving in towards turn 2. Ollie Goethe has got the perfect spectator's view in behind. Now Goethe can attack Simmons. Door open as now the Dane goes hunting. Not this time though. Simmons able to position the car and deflect the approach from Ollie Goethe as they now come up towards turn 4. It's still Mansell holding on to second place. A great bit of defensive driving as well. A great bit of defensive driving by Simmons too.
It really was, yes, and Simmons just straying wide there out of T5. Does that give Goethe the opportunity at 6? No. Always a brave move through 6 and 7. It is a good braking zone, but it also narrows quite a lot there over those big curves. Goethe goes for it at turn 9. Very rare overtaking opportunity. Both of them stray off the circuit there. How both of them managed to retain the car after that oversteer we saw from both parties, I'll never know. Christian Mansell has been given a bit of breathing room now then. Ayrton Simmons has dropped off the back of the Australian, and now he's got to deal with the Dane.
Yeah, what about Vlad Lomko, who's coming into the fight as well, 5th place, so we've now got another car entering the fray. That might have given Mansell the respite he needed. Now with just 3 laps to go, this is certainly getting very spicy in the podium section of this race. You can see the cars running wide. Simmons just getting caught out. Goethe joining him as well off the circuit. You can just see the reactions there from the garage as now we're watching the cars once again make their way down towards turn 1. Mansell still in second place. The gap though reducing back down. Simmons starting to get himself recomposed, challenging again, trying to bring the delta down. And Lomko, who I'm sure Goethe has seen in the rear, these two have had a fair few fights in the past. I tell you what, this is turning into a very spicy affair with 2 laps to go.
I made a podium sound unlikely for Vladislav Lomko once he got through into 5th place. I thought the deficit was too much, but the battling between Mansell, Simmons and Goethe has brought the Grand Prix de Pau winner right back into it, the man who's 3rd in the championship. And I tell you what, if he can get past Goethe and outscore him as well, that would be a huge moment for the driver who is based in Paris. At number 69 car may still struggle to get the podium, but can he get around Goethe? It would be huge. This has been a great race so far, one of the best battles of the season here at the Hungaroring, and it is Christian Mansell there in the 2nd place on this penultimate lap of action. Josh Mason is now over 6 seconds clear at the sharp end of the order, and just over 1 lap remains between himself and a maiden victory in Euroformula Open.
Yeah, you get the feeling he just needs to keep calm, just keep it cool. 6 points. Here just saying, protect this lead, protect the lead. Mansell in 2nd place as well. It's been a great bit of driving from Mansell, considering the fact that he wasn't able to close on Josh Mason. He's still managing to keep Simmons and Goethe in behind as well. You can just see all 4 of them further back, as Goethe has got Lomko in behind as well, only 6/10 away. So they round turn 1. Mason, there you can see in picture, leaving turn 1 now down towards turn 2. He's got the string of cars in behind him, 6.7 seconds behind him. There you can see certainly Mason coming through just in the back of picture there, Mansell and Simmons and Goethe and Lomko coming through as well. But what a visit, certainly from this young man, Josh Mason. Succeeded at Spa with 2 podiums and now currently sits on the prospects of his 1st win in Euroformula.
What a day it would be for Josh Mason if he can make it happen. We look back to Christian Mansell there in 2nd place in the 71 car. Then it's Simmons, then it's Goethe, Lomko and Lubin rounding out our top 6 at this stage. Top 5. Well, there's a big gap between 1st and 2nd, but 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th still in a line. Will there be any fireworks in the final sector from them? No fireworks until the flag, please. Josh Mason, you're just a few corners from taking your inaugural victory in the Euroformula Open. Mason has been working hard at getting it right in this category. He did a full season last year, of course. Best finish was a 4th place. He got his 1st podium at Spa Race 1. He got his 2nd place in Spa Race 3, and now here at the 2nd race in the Hungaroring, it is Josh Mason who crosses the line for his 1st victory in Euroformula Open. Massive congratulations to the British driver. Christian Mansell takes 2nd ahead of Ayrton Simmons. Ollie Goethe taking a strong 4th place. Vladislav Lomko 5th. And Freddie Lubin rounds out the top 6. Francesco Simonazzi eventually got around Garcia and finishes 7th. Garcia 8th ahead of Benjamin Berta, and Vladimir Netishel will round out the finishing order. Josh Mason, take a bow, your 1st win in Euroformula Open. He's a popular figure in the paddock. Lots of the drivers get along with Josh. I'm sure he's going to be getting lots of thumbs up as they drive by. But what a moment for Josh Mason. Congratulations.
Yeah, what a drive indeed. He certainly led pretty much from start to finish. An incredible performance. Obviously, you must imagine what the thoughts are from his family, of course. I know that lots of them support him heavily. Every weekend he comes racing, and he's done it now, and I'm sure this win will mean a lot to every single one of them. What a prospect certainly here this season. He's seen such an upward curve in performance since the very 1st race at Estoril. He's been working hard, improving his race game, and now he can celebrate a victory. Tremendous stuff.
And that will provisionally bump him up to 4th place in the championship as well. So a huge day so far for Mason, and perhaps the best is yet to come. As of course we do have race 3 later on in the afternoon, and in race 3 I think Mason will have a fairly strong starting position as well. He'll be starting from 3rd on the grid in that one. From the clean side of the circuit, so we'll see what he can do later on. But for now, Mason is the man of the hour, our race winner in this 1st race of the Sunday here in Euroformula Open. Christian Mansell taking 2nd position, outscoring Oliver Goethe. Simmons takes 3rd ahead of Goethe. Vladislav Lomko scoring 5th place, and 6th for Freddie Lubin. Francesco Simonazzi claiming 7th position. Alex Garcia in P8, Benjamin Berta and Vladimir Netschil round out our order in that race. And this is the effect on the Drivers' Championship. The gap between Goethe and Mansell down to 79 points. Goethe still leads the way, of course, though. Vladislav Lomko in 3rd and Josh Mason, as I said, in 4th in the championship now, ahead of Freddie Lubin. So our first British winner of the year. Both Lubin and Mason have shown potential so far this season. And Josh Mason has done it. And while Josh will be jubilant, I'm very much looking forward to seeing him out of the car. I think he's going to be elated with that. And a big tip of the hat as well to Ayrton Simmons. He is trying to find budget for his racing future. And hopefully the sponsors are watching, because we saw a great performance out of that young man in that race, and an example of why he deserves an opportunity in the rest of this season and the years to come. Mason, though, pulls up to the first place parking spot, and let's wait for the explosion as he gets out of the car. He's going to be a happy man.
Absolutely. Just look at him now, just getting himself out of the car. Wait for it, folks. This one is going to be extra special.
Christian Mansell goes to him. Big camaraderie between the two of them. Here it goes. Take a bow indeed, Josh Mason. His first win in Euroformula Open. He has hit a rich vein of form. Timo from Lotermark gives him a hearty embrace. And his championship campaign has taken a big step forward with that one, as he's behind Goethe at the top of the order, of course. And there you see Josh receiving all of the plaudits and the embraces. Hugs his sister Alana, who works hard with Josh on his personal training and such. He's a big part of his success, and so great to see Josh receiving this moment. He worked long and hard for that podium. We joked that the victory would probably follow quite quickly. I don't know if even he expected it to come quite so soon, though.
No, he definitely deserves it, though. It was a wonderful effort, and he started extremely strong, and getting himself in front was half the battle. We did say coming out of turn 1 to lead at that point obviously is a huge advantage. He took it, he took full advantage of it, and now he's well, he succeeded in the run as well. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, Euroformula Open race winner, and joins the likes of Vladislav Lomko, Bastian Ogard, Christian Mansell and Oliver Goethe as race winners in this 2022 season. Promotes himself to 4th place in the championship, as we saw as well. Goethe with a fairly strong result there in 4th place. I believe he has the points for most overtakes in the race as well, so he gets a couple of extra points on the board. There's Christian Mansell in 2nd place with the shiny blue lids. Ayrton Simmons taking P3 in that race for DriveX. Great to see Simmons on the podium in his first weekend back, his best result in Euroformula Open. Christian Mansell taking 2nd place. And we're going to hear from this man now, Josh Mason. His first win in Euroformula Open comes at Hungaroring.
Josh Mason, maiden win here at the Hungaroring. What a great race, perfect.
Yeah, very physical here. You know, from the get-go, the race is basically going to turn 1, turn 2. So when I knew Christian was on my outside, I knew within myself I had to come out turn 1 first. And after that, it was just hitting my markers and pull the gap and just keep the consistency up so to take the win.
No hiccups today?
No, well, compared to yesterday, I can't ask for any more, you know. Yesterday was a bit difficult and I was struggling a little bit, but to come back stronger on Sunday to take the race win, you know, I can't ask for more. And yeah, looking forward to race 3 later today.
Well done. Enjoy the moment.
He will start 3rd on the grid for race 3. We'll see what he can do from there. Here are the highlights. Race 2 got off to a slightly poor start for Ayrton Simmons. He didn't get off the line quite as he wanted, but it was a magnificent getaway for Josh Mason, who led into the first corner, but Christian Mansell tried to go all the way around the outside, ended up on the runoff area and fighting Simmons for second place in the next couple of corners. Goethe tried to pick his way past Freddie Lubin at turn 3, but Lubin held on for the time being. Goethe, though, would soon make it up to 4th place. Garcia and Simonazzi, round 2. It continued across the race, and eventually Simonazzi would come out on top. Not there at turn 3, however. There is Lubin still ahead of Goethe in the early stages of the race. However, he was sold the dummy. Goethe cut to the inside and moved up into P4, and rather sensationally for an Oliver Goethe reverse grid race, that was as far as he got. He tried it on Ayrton Simmons at turn 9. They both went off the circuit. They both did well to manage the oversteer over the bumps on the runoff area. And the man who managed everything best of all was Josh Mason, who disappeared away from the rest of the pack and took a commanding first victory in Euroformula Open ahead of Christian Mansell and Ayrton Simmons. Great scenes in the Parc Fermé area, and now the good friends Mansell and Mason debriefing on their race. Ayrton Simmons first onto the podium to take the 3rd step on the podium. A good race for Simmons, his first ever podium in Euroformula Open. The first ever win for Josh Mason, who now climbs to the top step. And now the representative from Crypto Tower joining them on the podium. We'll now hear the national anthem.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
So there we go. Mason with the trophy and the beaming smile as well. What a moment for Josh, the family and the team that have worked so hard with him this year to step up his game. And step up his game he firmly has. No matter what happens in race 3 as Christian Mansell darts, he's got lightning getaways when he leaves the podium as well. It's not just on the starting grid. And I think Josh Mason is being coerced into using the champagne. You don't just take your first win and not use the champagne. What are you kidding? Josh Mason gets a spray of the champagne, and Ayrton Simmons gives him a little bit of a shower ahead of race number 3. But no matter what happens in race 3 for Josh Mason, he's now going to have great momentum heading into the off-season, or rather the mid-season break. We are back in the first weekend of September at Imola, so there is a little bit of a break after this afternoon's race 3, and any positive results here will really G you up ahead of the summer.
Yeah, absolutely right, especially when you're going into a break. It's always good to finish on a high. And great for this man as well, Simonazzi, who is certainly fighting with the likes of Alex Garcia. And this will be the rookie podiums. Of course, coming out on top once again, Vladislav Lonko. All in all, a wonderful performance to pull himself back the way he did, because like you alluded to during the race, it didn't look like he was going to be able to catch up, but he certainly did.
Yes, he did. He was firmly in that podium discussion at the end of the race, and he is on the top step of the podium again, further extending his lead in the rookie podium standings. And the Crypto Tower Racing Team driver, it's not often he's off the overall podium, but he still gets some silverware, and we'll see who gets the silverware in race 3 this afternoon. Make sure you join us for another reverse grid thriller at the Hungaroring.